All right. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Madam Clerk, the time is now 2:09 p.m.
Yes, sir.
For this Augusta Richmond County Commission meeting on Cinco de Mayo.
Watch
It
out.
looks as though we have a quorum. I call this meeting to order.
Yes, sir. At this time, we will have our invocation shared with us today by Pastor Mark Granados, Associate Pastor of the Augusta First Seventh-day Adventist Church, after which would you please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Remain standing.
Good afternoon. I want to share a quick word of the day. The Word of God says in Micah chapter 6, verse 8, He has told you, O man, what is good. And what does the Lord require of you but to do justice, to love kindness, and to walk humbly with your God? Let us pray. Dear Heavenly Father, O gracious Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you for this meeting. We thank you for all the leaders who are here listening, discussing matters that pertain to you, Lord. Lord, help us trust you in all of our ways and acknowledge you, Lord, for we know that you can make our path straight. We invite you here. Give us wisdom, give us insights, and help us remember the poor, the needy, and the matters that we are discussing, Lord. We ask for you. In Jesus' name, amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Pastor, would you please stand? Thank you for putting us in remembrance of what God has told us through Micah, to love mercy and to walk humbly before him. Thank you for that reminder. By these presents be it known that Pastor Mark Granados, Associate Pastor of the Augusta First Seventh-day Adventist Church, is our chaplain of the day. May your spiritual guidance and unwavering leadership continue to bring strength and blessings to the citizens of Augusta. Given under my hand this day, 5th day of May, 2026, Garnett L. Johnson, Mayor. And again, thank you so very much.
Thank you so much.
Pastor, thank you so much for being here, sir. Thank you for that prayer. Appreciate all the work you do in the community. Madam Clerk, before we continue, I'm going to take a point of personal privilege to recognize what I consider one of our community giants, and we have her family in our chambers today. It's Miss Brittany Renee Lynch. As many of you know her through all of her great work throughout this community. We just saw her back in March at that very podium, advocating for things that she loves. Most importantly, her love for this community and helping those that need it the most. So, Madam Clerk, if you don't mind, we have a proclamation on her behalf in which we name the day in her honor. And I have her family that's here with me today that we're going to present to them. I have a couple of her daughters and her nephew and a niece. And I have Miss Tamisa Lynch, Miss Debbie Lynch, Jada Hood. So, Madam Clerk, let's read the proclamation, and I'm going to present it to them up front.
Okay. I'll wait till you get down. You want them to join you? Natasha, here, hand back to the mayor. Okay, let me do this. Just hold on to it. I know where he going. Get those. Okay. The City of Augusta proclamation in recognition of Ms. Bridget Renee Lynch. Whereas Ms. Bridget Renee Lynch was born in Augusta, Georgia on September 10th, 1973, to the late Reverend Isaiah J. Searcy and Carrie Lynch. And whereas Ms. Bridget Renee Lynch was a pillar of the Augusta Richmond County community and founder of the Fatty Marshall Foundation, providing support, education, and hope to thousands of young women and children living with HIV/AIDS in the CSRA. And whereas Ms. Bridget Renee Lynch also demonstrated her commitment to civic engagement as a proud participant of the Richmond County Citizens Police Academy, strengthening her connection to the community she loved so deeply. And whereas Ms. Bridget Renee Lynch brought joy and unity to countless families through her annual Christmas gala, wine festivals, and her free Easter events, which she supported personally because she believed in giving back. And whereas Ms. Bridget Renee Lynch shared her gift of music by singing at community events, uplifting hearts, and bringing people together through her voice. And whereas Ms. Bridget Renee Lynch's kindness, selflessness, and generosity will be dearly missed. Her support for those who needed her and her endless love will remain in our hearts of minds, of her family, friends, and those fortunate enough to meet her. And whereas Ms. Bridget Renee Lynch's legacy of service, compassion, and unwavering dedication will continue to live on in the countless lives she touched and the community she so faithfully served, I will always cherish what she meant to me and others around the city of Augusta. And now, therefore, it be resolved that I, Garnett L. Johnson, Mayor of the city of Augusta, do hereby proclaim April 24th, 2026 as Miss Bridget Renee Lynch Day.
Ladies, make sure it's on. Yeah, they're working up top to get it. The mic turned on. There we go. Ladies and gentlemen, Miss Jada Lynch.
I just want to say thank you on behalf of my family, on behalf of my siblings, on behalf of the Fatty Marshall Foundation, and on behalf of Bridget Renee Presents. My mom was a light. She was someone who served the community for over 15 years. Her passion was helping children living in the CSRA, specifically with HIV and AIDS. I watched her serve over 100 children each Christmas. That's 100 families, 100 children who would have went without, 100 children that was living in the hospital, with HIV/AIDS. Regardless of what she had to do, It didn't matter what she had to do. She did what she had to do, whether it was sponsorships or whether it was money from her own pocket from going to work. She did just that to be able to put a smile on those children's faces. She did Easter egg events for children and families all across Augusta with thousands of Easter basket, Easter egg hunt, you name it. Her annual gala was to shine a light on those children, make sure their name was known, not only the sponsor's name was known, but their name was known, and letting them know that they matter and they aren't what they have, but they are people still. So I just want to say thank you to the city of Augusta, to the council, to Mayor Garnett. We just want to say thank you, and we appreciate it. This is just the first step towards, us honoring her legacy. So thank you so much. Yes, sir.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. All right, Madam Clerk, as I understand, the commissioner from the 5th would like a point of personal privilege to address another matter. The chair yields to Commissioner Don Clark.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We talk about so many things that happen in our community. It's very important that we're intentional about the great things that happen. One of our jewels of higher learning here in Augusta, Richmond County has a very important and exciting announcement that they want to make. If you all will indulge me the opportunity to introduce the president of Payne College, President McCorn, Dr. McCorn.
Commissioner, to Mayor Johnson, and to the distinguished commission, thank you for the opportunity. I'd like to ask the senior leadership team of Payne College if they would stand. The First Lady of Payne College is here, and we have one of the members of the Board of Trustees here, Mr. Butch Gallup. As you know, Payne College has gone through transition toward transformation, and we've accepted the challenges that have come before us and decided that because this is such a treasured institution, it deserves the best of our efforts and our support. The last year was our period of evaluation and preparation for accreditation, and you all probably know that that is the end-all and be-all of institutions of higher education. To be able to operate, you have to have accreditation. And so we're happy after the visit of the Transnational Association of Christian Colleges and Schools. They have looked under the hood and kicked the tires and looked at everything that is Payne College. And they have announced on last Monday that we have been reaffirmed for accreditation as an institution of higher education. That Payne College has demonstrated institutional integrity, academic credibility, and operational and financial viability. And it is authorized to continue functioning as a fully recognized, federally eligible institution of higher education. I want to thank this commission. I want to thank the Augusta community, and especially the alumni. I wish Tony Lewis was here, but Jordan Johnson is here. And thank you for their undying love and support of Payne College. We could not do it without their support. And I want to thank you, Commissioner, and thank you, Mayor, for giving us this opportunity for recognition. God bless you.
President McCorn, there's something special happening on 15th Street. You know that. It's all attributed to you and your energy and your spirit. You and your team continue the great work. We look forward to continuing to support you. Thank you so much. Have a great summer. Is it summer yet? Almost. Graduation's this weekend, folks. So if you know anyone who's graduating from Payne College or want to be part of that celebration, please go down and see him. Thank you so much, President McCorn and First Lady. She was here earlier. She may She's there, okay. You should have been up front. All right. Madam Clerk, I think that takes us to the delegation portion of our meeting.
Yes, sir, it does. Call your attention to delegation item A, Ms. Debra Estep, concerns about the floss half-cent tax, sales tax. That's the floating local option sales tax.
I'll provide this document here. It has all the backup evidence.
All right.
Can we turn that on?
Wait a second. Let's get the clerk.
We're working on it.
Yeah, we're working on it. Give us just a second. I want to make sure you get all your time.
Okay. You're upside down?
Is it upside down?
Yes. Okay.
All right, thank you.
All right, madam, give me just a second so I get a timer stated here.
Okay.
Give you a chance to get everything together. And we're ready when you are, ma'am. Please, for the record, please state your name and address.
Debra Estep, 1523 Johns Road.
Thank you, ma'am. You have 5 minutes.
Commissioners, you've asked the citizens of Augusta to vote yes on flossed. You're calling it relief. Relief for whom is the question. Flossed is paid through sales tax. Half of Augusta's households rent. Renters pay every cent of floss and receive none of the relief. Because flossed applies only to homestead exemption, renters have no homestead. Renters get nothing back. Among homeowners, the relief is not equal. A homestead worth 10 times another receives roughly 10 times the property tax cut. The Augusta rule already lets wealthy homestead owners rent their homes during Masters Week, federally tax-free every year. Floss stacks property tax relief on top of that. Renters pay, small homestead owners get a small break. The wealthiest homestead owners get the largest break and keep the Augusta rule too. That is the floss question on its own. Before you ask citizens to authorize new tax authority, you owe answers to questions already on this record. Look at the street your tax dollars are building right now. The park and the median, the bike lanes, the landscaping. Years in, years still to go. Now look at the buildings that line both sides of the same street. Abandoned, water damaged, wired in ways residents describe as dangerous. Many are held by LLCs whose ultimate ownership is not on the public record. The investment your money is paying for is raising their value while you read this. They pay nothing into the corridor that keeps making them richer. They're not anonymous to each other. They are anonymous to you and me. Separately, the Augusta Land Bank Authority operates under intergovernmental agreements with this body. The commission appoints its boards and funds it. The land bank does not hold parcels in the downtown corridor. It holds about 500 parcels concentrated in Laney Walker, Bethlehem, and Turpin Hill. Historically Black, historically disinvested neighborhoods. The Augusta Press has documented a land bank disposition that did not go through public bid, a former state senator buying parcels well below appraised value. After that reporting, this body approved $1 million of federal pandemic funds for the land bank without it requiring a public list of what would be purchased. 2 different sets of property in 2 different parts of the city. One problem in common. Public action moves real value to private property holders, and the public cannot see who benefits and on what terms. I'm asking the commission to use the authority it already has, appointment, funding, and intergovernmental agreement itself, to require the Land Bank Authority to publish its complete disposition log under Georgia's Open Record Act. Every parcel, every buyer, every price, every approving vote for the last 10 years, and any early records the authority retains. If those transfers are all local owners at fair value, that publication settles the question. If they did not, citizens have a right to know before you ask to grant new tax authority through flossed. One more thing on this body's record before the vote. There are buildings on that downtown corridor with conditions residents describe as a fire risk. In American cities, the South Bronx and Fillmore, the same conditions preceded fires that conveniently cleared the way for new development. The owners of record collected insurance. Developers were the next purchasers. If any of those buildings burns, the fire investigation, the insurance review, and the next deed transfer must be examined publicly. I want this on the record now in advance. Until this commission delivers a public land bank disposition log, a code enforcement audit of every LLC-held building downtown, beneficial ownership disclosure for the incoming producing property in this county, and a full accounting of SPLOST 7 and 8
1 minute.
before SPLOST 9, this community votes no on FLOST and no on every new sales tax. I'm recommending Eric Gaines for mayor. He showed up to the charter committee. His campaign
Madam,
finance
you are
disclosures
completely out of line.
are public.
Marshals, you're out of
He
line.
is running on a small budget
Madam,
without the money
you
this
cross
office
the line
has
every
historically
every
attracted.
single time you
They
come in
will
these
say
chambers
what I'm
and you
doing
cross the
tonight is
line.
political.
So I'm gonna ask now that you be removed.
Until an election to
You
make a
crossed the
commission do its
line,
job
ma'am.
is not a
You have
corruption of the
crossed the
process.
line and you must be removed. Madam Clerk, let it be noted that I think she ought to be put on some sort of, because she comes here every time as part of the
your patience.
delegation. And she breaks the rules. Madam, just leave.
I would like to
No,
actually
ma'am,
finish the last two.
ma'am.
Let's go.
Ma'am. Madam Clerk, let's move to the next item, please.
Okay. Our next delegation, item B, Mr. Lawrence Brannen, relative to 1.10, public participation in commission meetings. Under Section 1-213 Rules of Procedure, Appendix A of the Augusta Richmond County Code.
Thank you so much, Madam Clerk. Mr. Brannen, welcome to the chamber, sir. If you will, for the record, please state your name and address.
Lawrence Brannen, 445 Fenwick Street, Augusta, Georgia, 30901.
Thank you, sir. You have the floor and you have 5 minutes.
My apologies. Y'all, you know my duties have increased lately with her, so
I understand.
bring her in the chamber. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and may it please this commission. Now, when it comes to public participation in the commission chamber, the rules are not optional. In fact, they are quite clear. Matter of fact, let me put this up there. Top of that. Sorry, y'all. Yeah. All right. Now, under Section 1-213, Appendix A, Rules of Procedure in the Augusta Code, speakers must remain on the topic they sign up to address. That's subsection 11011. Subsection 11011A, a speaker who goes out of order may be barred from continuing, as we just saw, subsection 11011B. Once barred, that speaker cannot return to the microphone unless a majority of the commission votes to allow it. I feel bad for my fellow advocate. Subsection 11011C, if a barred speaker continues improper conduct, the chair may take further action, including removal from the chamber. So when outside of here, people don't need to chop it up and put it on Facebook that, oh, you just did her wrong, you didn't do it wrong. You got to stay within the rules. Subsection 11011D, and for repeated improper conduct, the commission may bar a person from speaking for up to 60 days. And I really don't hope that happens, but I think that's about where we're at now. Now, while I understand that we are in a critical election year, speakers should not be allowed to abandon their stated agenda topic to deliver political talking points crafted elsewhere. As someone who has spoken here many times and grown to respect the decorum expected in this chamber, I am concerned that allowing this pattern to continue will weaken the communication link between the public and its government. This year's elections have made it difficult for some individuals to contain emotional statements, but inside this chamber, the rules of public participation must be honored. Those who want to campaign for the candidates can do so outside. I held signs last Sunday, and although I could stand here and play a political game right now, that would be appropriate because I can do it to stay on topic. That's not why I'm here. This is not the place for campaign speeches, whether aimed at District 2, District 4, District 6, District 10, or even you, Mr. Mayor. Oh, yeah, I mean, nobody come here attacking the commissioners. We're playing these political games, right? Let's keep it fair. Now, it is time for the commission to enforce its own rules to prevent political ambushes on officials up for re-election. To be fair, Mr. Mayor, the ambushes seem to target you most, and I would say that you handle yourself well. As you once told me, when they go low, you stay high. Now, equally important is protecting the speakers from themselves, as we just seen. Sometimes you got to protect them from themselves, because some do not realize that once this election ends, they will still have to return to this chamber and live with everything they said and did while trying to influence the outcome. As you stated at the Richmond County Neighborhood Alliance meeting in March, we can be disagreeable but not disrespectful. When this election is over, some relationships may be permanently damaged. Political differences should never cultivate enemies. And I hate it that it has come to this. I really do. Y'all know, some of y'all know I really hate it come to this, but it has. I got one paragraph left and I'm done. My first time addressing this body on second chance opportunity, for example, I want to bring this to, my first chance addressing this body on second chance opportunities was in January 2024. I fought hard and at one point was nearly called out of order. But once I realized that working with the government instead of against it was the path forward, I succeeded. After at least 8 presentations and more than 2 years of effort, on March 18, 2026, this body unanimously approved using my proposal as the baseline for developing a better second chance policy. Why that achievement did not make the news, I don't know. I'm not going to question it. But I thank you, Mr. Mayor, for suggesting it be taken up, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem for making a motion, District 5 for seconding it, and also District 1 and the group he is working with to build upon the baseline. Now, in closing, when it comes to public participation, it is very imperative that we enforce the rules. Thank you. That's it.
Thank you, Mr. Brannen, always for your advocacy and for being here. Most importantly, we keep bringing Miriam, our youngest constituent. Thank you so much. Madam Clerk, while you walk back.
Take your first job. Oh, I do.
I think that takes us to delegation item C.
Item C, Dr. Gayla, Keesee, data centers.
Good afternoon. I'm Gayla Keesee. I am co-president of the League of Women Voters of the CSRA. I am here to follow up on what was said in the room on February 11th regarding the QTS data centers near Haynes Station and Captain's Corner. On that date, residents were told there would be 1, additional information provided, 2, a policy developed around data centers, 3, another public meeting. So I'm asking for clear updates. Where is that policy? What information has been released since then? When is the next public meeting? And when will it be scheduled so working residents can attend and with enough public notice that they know it is happening? Residents have consistently said that they didn't know about this project until late in the process. And part of that concern is how notice is handled. Signs may have been placed, but they were not placed where people actually live. Dias Parkway is not where effective neighborhoods were. People are in nearby communities did not see these notices. So I'm asking, what documentation exists showing how nearby residents were notified? Where is the documentation available to the public? And how does placing signage away from residential areas meet the intent of public notice? Third, changes in scope and communication. When the scope of the project expanded, how was that communicated to the public? What additional notice was provided to affected neighborhoods? And where can that information be reviewed by the public? There's also concern that homes were being sold during this time period after this project had been approved and expanded without clear disclosure to new residents about what was being planned nearby. So, what responsibility exists to ensure accurate, complete information is available to the public, especially when decisions of this scale are already in motion? And finally, this is bigger than one project. Data centers bring long-term impacts, infrastructure, energy demand, and development patterns, especially in South Augusta. So, what framework is in place or being developed to evaluate future data center proposals? And how will the public be informed before these decisions are made? This comes down to three things: transparency, clear, accessible information; accountability, following through on what was said publicly; public input before decisions are made. Residents are paying attention, and they're asking questions, and they deserve clear, documented answers. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Keesee, for being here. Dr. Keesee, my apologies. Thank you for being here. Madam Clerk, seeing no colleagues in the queue, let's move on with delegation item D, please.
Item D, Ms. Zakiya Mabery, follow up on previously stated commitments made during commission meeting, including items for clarification, and request current status on outstanding items.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Ms. Mabery, welcome back. For the record, please, your name.
Zakiya Mabery is my name. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, ma'am. You have 5 minutes.
Okay. I want to say also happy May. May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and being advocates for mental health is so critical in the times that we're living in today. I also want to begin by saying this: even though we disagree, we should never eliminate basic human being civil to one another. So whether you're District 3 or District 10, if you see me in the hallways or in the community, you can still speak. I'm approachable and friendly. John Lewis, the late Congressman John Lewis, I was reminded yesterday on a call, he worked with a lot of people that he didn't agree with or necessarily maybe care for them on a personal level, but we can still work together in the community, and I'm approachable, so you can speak when you see me, Mayor. So I'm here today to follow up on previous stated commitments that were made during public meetings. Number one, the second was kind of addressed then by Dr. Keesee about the data center. The public meeting on 11 February, which the community pushed to have organized at the elementary school, it was stated then that in May that we would have a follow-up Part 2 meeting, and I haven't seen it anywhere, so I'm here to inquire about it. And we also asked for 15 to 30-day notice so that the community members in the affected area can have time to plan accordingly to be there. So that's number one. Number two, during the March Planning and Zoning meeting, it was stated that there was going to be an ordinance or something, sir, that you stated that was going to be completed within the 2 weeks. The time has elapsed, so I want to know where we are with that. Can you provide a detailed update and status? Number three, the public comment and policy disclosure, PII, I brought this up several times. The last time I spoke about it, I said I was asked by the mayor to follow up and provide examples from other cities within Georgia that have modern governance, and I did within 24 hours. Actually, on March 31st, Attorney Plunkett responded to my email inquiry, and he stated that the law department is reviewing the commission's rules of procedure. Proposed updates will be submitted at the following committee meeting. It hasn't. And the issue with PI disclosure, a person doesn't have to publicly state their address to be heard, as long as the clerk, which already validated what I stated, as long as she has it, it doesn't need to be stated on the microphone. And yes, the comment was made that people can do their due diligence and still research where we live, but we're not talking about that. We're talking about what you have underneath your span of control. So can you provide an update where the updated policy is going to, the public is going to be able to see it? And what are the proposed changes and when will they be presented? If, number four, I have a question. Have any commissioners or staff met with the Haines Station HOA president or the developer, Bill Beasley, regarding the proposed Eisenhower data center? In closing, I'm requesting clear updates with specific timelines, and additionally, I would ask respectfully that why is it that we, as the public, have to keep following up with you about things that you promised on a specific timeline? That does not seem like it's good, modernized governance. Thank you for your time, and I'll stay here for the answers.
Thank you, Ms. Mabery. Chair recognizes first. Chair recognizes Commissioner from the 3rd, Commissioner Catherine Smith Rice.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and good to see you, Mrs. Mabery. I've seen you before, and I've waved, said hi to you. But anyway, I'm not going to go back and forth. I do know that I have been in contact with the group that was there at that meeting that night, and we are going to do a meeting, but it's going to be after the election, and they will be setting it up. So just letting you know that, but you will have notice, okay? But I will be letting the group, and the attorney is here today that represents the data group. If he wants to say anything, he's welcome to. But we will certainly be coordinating a meeting. So it has not been forgotten. We're getting through this election cycle, okay? Thank you so much.
Thank you, Commissioner Rice. I'm going to ask Attorney Plunkett, because you were asked for a couple of deliverables regarding Ms. Mabery's address. Can you?
Yes, sir. At the request of the commission, we did a review. It was done by 2 attorneys and myself in the law department. One was to make inquiry of the commissioners to see if there's anything that they saw problematic or they'd like to see. I did receive some information from Ms. Mabery. We have sent this to the commissioner who made the request initially. She has looked at it. It is in the queue for approvals to go into the commission cycle, hopefully on the 12th. But if it doesn't get to the 12th, it'll be on the 26th. It is an item that has both a red line version and a plain copy of the red line version, so that you can look at the changes there. We've made a couple of substantive changes. One is removing the issue of the mayor voting to break ties. There are some rules on decorum that we have suggested, and we made some information, or I shouldn't say, somewhere between slight and substantial changes suggested on personal information. So we do listen to the people who speak. We also listen to our commissioners and see what they want to do. But that is in the process, and as soon as it gets to the queue, it will be here to be discussed.
Thank you, Attorney Plunkett. Ms. Mabery, is there anything additional you'd like to add?
Yes, I would like clarity. Commissioner McKnight, you stated that you haven't forgot about us in the group. I don't know what group specifically that you're talking about that you are still working with, because I was the leader of organizing that, and I haven't heard from you. But it didn't state when, as you're right, when in May. So can you give us a date so that the military and other professionals in our neighborhood can plan accordingly and put it, because today is the 5th, so they can plan accordingly and put it on their calendar, the date. So you said after the elections. That's great. I understand there's a lot going on. But can we have a date so that everyone can plan accordingly?
Yes, do you mind if I get with them and then we can get an email out to you? Is that fair?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay, and if you'll just leave your personal email right up here, that'd be great, and I'll email you personally.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Ms. Mabery, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you, sir.
We appreciate your participation. Madam Clerk, I think that takes us to the consent agenda portion. As I understand, we have some addendums for the record. Can you read those in for the record, please?
Okay. Addendum agenda, May 5th, 2026, Augusta Commission regular meeting. Item number 1 is a motion to ratify the Augusta Legislative Delegation appointments of Mr. Kevin Mack to the General Aviation Commission at Daniel Field, requested by Representative Brian Prince. Mr. Clarence Tompkins, Augusta Port Authority, recommended by Representative Carlton Howard. Item number 2, discussion regarding the revised plans for the proposed State Veterans Cemetery in Augusta. Updated plans, project status, next steps associated with the proposed State Veterans Cemetery in Augusta. Item number 3 is discussion of Augusta Richmond County financial support for State Veterans Cemetery, Augusta Richmond County's approval and allocation of monetary support toward the construction and development of the proposed Veterans Cemetery. I believe, Commissioner Clark, you asked that items 4 and 5 be referred to the relative committee for
The next commission on the 21st.
21st, okay?
That's items 4 and 5?
Yes, sir.
All right, item 4 and 5. All right,
That
Sure.
will be on Thursday, May 21st.
all right. Chair recognizes Commissioner from the 5th, Commissioner Don Clark.
Mr. Mayor, well, I guess are we going through the agenda now?
No, we're going through addendum.
Okay. With the removals of 4 and 5, moving those to the next commission. Next commission won't be on the 19th, it's going to be on the 21st, correct, Madam Clerk?
Yes, sir.
All right, so I'd like to make a motion to approve as stated.
No, we didn't have an opportunity to actually act for consent on these items.
Well, that's what I was
haven't,
asking.
yeah,
Okay.
officially added them, yeah.
All right.
It's in
All right.
discussion.
There's been a request to add these addendum items to today's agenda. Is there any objection? Chair recognizes Commissioner from the 10th, Mayor Pro Tem Wayne Guilfoyle.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Mayor, if we're going to be consenting the consent agenda item number 8.
No, we're just doing the addendum right now. Doing the addendum. You have the addendum, sir. Colleagues. All right. Chair recognizes Commissioner Catherine Smith Rice from the 3rd.
Yes, I'd like to pull item number 1 off for the day. Can we move that for further discussion?
Item number 1 from the regular consent?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, we pull it to a date certain or just?
Maybe move it to the
Yeah, it's on the addendum.
the addendum number 1. Move it.
Let's move to the next committee cycle,
Yeah,
please.
that's fine.
Okay,
That can
on
work.
the regular or the addendum agenda?
On the
number
addendum
1?
agenda.
Addendum.
Item number 1?
Item number 1,
To the committee?
to the committee. It's being objected today. We're going to move it to committee cycle.
She had an objection?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, okay.
Move it.
All right. Colleagues, item number 1 has been asked to be removed through an objection. Is there any objection for removing items 2 and 3 from today's agenda?
That may be, Mr. Mayor.
On the addendum? Yes. Is there any objection to that?
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
On item 1, the representative was here. Is that a reason why we're moving it?
No, sir, there was an objection to adding it to today's agenda.
No, I know.
So there's an objection to adding it to today's agenda.
Okay.
Yes. The Commissioner from the 3rd has objected
I thought it was to move it.
to the next committee cycle.
And so the answer, my question still wasn't answered.
What's your question, sir?
Representative Howard was here. Is we moving because he left or why are we moving it?
Because there was an objection. This is an addendum agenda request.
Okay, just because it was an objection?
Yes, sir. All right. Is there any objection to removing item 2 or 3? If not, if there are no objections, we're going to proceed with adding items 2 and 3 to today's agenda. Madam Clerk, I hear no objection, so items 2 and 3 are added to today's agenda.
Okay.
All right. All right, I think that takes us to the consent portion of today's agenda, Madam Clerk.
Okay. Our consent agenda consists of items 1 through 6 with that's items 1 through 6. Commissioner is pulling item 1, sir, for
Not the regular agenda, that was the addendum.
He was talking about the addendum
Yes,
agenda.
ma'am.
Okay. For the benefit of any objectors to our alcohol petitions, item number 1 is the applicant requesting a retail package liquor, beer, and wine license for a location at 3101 Washington Road. Are there any objectors?
Any objections to 3101 Washington Road? Don't see any, Madam Clerk.
Okay.
You don't see me at
I'm
District 4?
gonna get to you, sir.
Okay.
I'm coming to you.
That's an objector, isn't it?
Okay. You objection to the 3101?
I am.
Okay. Madam Clerk, there's an objection from the Commissioner from the 4th for item number 1 for 3101 Washington Road.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Oh.
Any other alcohol petitions or public service?
Okay. Our consent agenda consists of items 1 through 6 with 1 objector to item number 1.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. All right. I don't see any colleagues. Well, Chair recognizes Mayor Pro Tem, Commissioner from the 10th, Commissioner Wayne Gilhall.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm going to try it again. Let's consent agenda item number 8.
Madam Clerk, there's been a request to consent item number 8.
Number 8, okay.
Okay. All right, colleagues.
Yeah, he's.
Madam Clerk, let's put it on the screen for everybody to prove. There's been
I think, yes, Ms. Rice. No, Mr. Wimberly pulled item 1 on the consent agenda. Mm-hmm.
Item, all right. We're waiting. Okay, wait a second. Right now, Madam Clerk, the only item I see right now, number 1 from Commissioner from the 4th. And we still have items 2 and 3 on the addendum agenda.
Mm-hmm.
All right. All right, colleagues, can I receive a motion, please?
Second.
There's a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Wayne Guilfoyle, and I heard a second by Commissioner from the 3rd, Commissioner Catherine Smith Rice. Colleagues, we're voting. Oh, I'm sorry. I was told earlier that the voting system may not be working. So we may have to do a roll call vote.
Yes, it's working.
It's working.
And
Oh, there
I
we
don't
go.
know if I mentioned Commissioner Brendan Garrett is joining us by Zoom today. So, Commissioner Garrett,
Yes.
okay. You voting on the consent agenda?
Yes.
Okay.
All of them, the numbers didn't show up, Madam Clerk. You may need to clear that and start over again on that, okay? All right. Let's clear that and start over. Okay. All right. We're ready when you are, Ms. McFarland. We don't see anything on our end. Okay. All right.
Commissioner Garrett. Commissioner Garrett?
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Barely, but we can. Can you verify your location as being out of the jurisdiction today, the county jurisdiction?
Yes, I am out of the county.
Thank you.
All right. So if we're waiting on Mr. Lewis, Madam Clerk, it may be just as easy just to go ahead and do a roll call vote right quick.
Mr. Clark?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Garrett?
Yes.
Mr. Guilfoyle?
Yes, ma'am.
Mayor Johnson?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Jordan Johnson? Mr. Lewis? Ms. Rice? Ms. Pulliam?
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Scott? Ms. Lindeck? Mr. Wembley?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Mayor, that's unanimous.
Thank you so much, Madam Clerk. Let's move on to item number 1, please. That was pulled at the request of Commissioner from the 4th.
Okay. We'll ask license and inspection. Ms. Priscilla, come on.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Commissioners. This was a motion to approve a new location for 3101 Washington Road, Augusta, Georgia. This is a new retail package liquor, beer, and wine license. Commissioner Wimberly, what kind of concerns or questions did you have?
Commissioner from the floor.
And could the applicant come up?
Okay. You want me to start before the applicant get up there? Okay. I want to be able to defend myself. Some of the questions and concerns that constituents in my district has been talking to me about is that the number of gas stations we get in, they say it's far too many. We're getting so many that we can stand in the driveway of one and look down at the driveway of another one, or maybe even look down the street and see 3 or 4 more. And the next thing we're getting prevalent installed in Richmond County is liquor stores. Is that the only thing that these business people could come up with to support, especially in South Augusta, is gas station and liquor store? That is my concern. I'm not here to try to stop this because I don't think I had the vote to stop it, but that is a concern that my constituents in District 4 is talking about Augusta. We either going to look like drunks or we're going to have a tank full of gas everywhere we go. So which one is it?
Understand, this one's actually in District 7 for Ms. Slindak's district. The District 1 had a lot of restaurants, and since January till now, so we have had quite a bit of restaurants coming in to the South Augusta area. District 4, that's a little different. Right now, we haven't had many other restaurants coming in that area, but it just as far as my alcohol being able to, there have been liquor stores and restaurants, and mostly in those areas. The ordinance doesn't state the closeness. We are working with the new director as far as revamping the ordinance and getting with the commissioners on changing the distance locations, and especially the adjacent locations, because it can be a distance between one location and another parcel, and it could meet the distance, but if it's adjacent, I would like to get with the commissioners to maybe alter that as well, because once again, it might be the distance between a gas station that's within the distance, but if it's one parcel over, the commissioners can decide that and change that in the ordinance.
That's including liquor stores?
Yes, sir. You can be stricter than the state, but you can't be lenient than the state. So yes, we are going to revamp the ordinance and get with the commissioners and kind of get your input. Because we do think, since I've been in this position in over a year, I do think there's a lot of little things like that should be tweaked.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, sir. Chair recognizes Commissioner from the 7th, Commissioner Tina Slindak.
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, this is my district. I've had absolutely no constituent contact me about not wanting this. I do know that as far as this type of business, there's one down near the Croc Center and not another one on that side of the road, probably till Evans, or one out on Bobby Jones. So, I mean, I don't feel like they are right on top of each other. So, I don't know why. I mean, I appreciate Mr. Wimberly, his opinion, but I have had none of my constituents that were against this whatsoever. I know that there was recently one that closed near the Kroger, so I'm sure their customers will be glad to see this one open. So, I mean, I would like to have a motion to approve this.
Commissioner from the 7th, are you making that motion?
Yes, I am.
All right, there's a motion to approve. Is there a second? There's a motion to approve. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
I hear a second from Mayor Pro Tem Wayne Guilfoyle. Sir, Chair will yield to you. I see you in the queue. Chair recognizes Mayor Pro Tem Wayne Guilfoyle.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. But Mr. Wimberly, Commissioner Wimberly is saying there's some validity into what he is saying about the impact of liquor stores being concentrated in certain areas. If we're going to be looking at putting a barn, but only so many feet, no different. You can't have a liquor store or beer being sold next to a church. It's got to be, 300 feet, the weight of crow flies, et cetera. But we also need to take into account, if we're going to be looking out for that, let's look at what's happening with these Dollar Generals. And they are actually concentrating on going after certain people, low income. And we're going to have to figure out a way to curtail that some as well. And liquor stores does the same thing, so.
Yes, and with our director actually doing the ordinance change, that would be a good thing to bring up to her as well regarding
Okay.
your Dollar Generals. Yes,
Good.
sir.
Ms. Cameron's probably on top of it then. Thank y'all. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Madam Clerk, we have a motion for approval of this item with a proper second. We're prepared to vote.
Okay. Voting.
Okay, I see the
Machine.
system is working.
Okay.
We're back online.
Mr. Jeff's the man.
Back online.
Mr. Garrett, how are you voting?
Yes.
Thank you. That motion carries 10-1 with Mr. Wembley voting no.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Let's move on to item 7, please.
Item number 7 is discuss possible proposed termination of the Metropolitan Waste contract.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Commissioner from the 6th, as I understand this is your item. You have the floor, sir.
Thank you, Mayor Johnson. It's been brought to my attention that there's some ongoing discussion and some new developments pertaining to this particular item on the agenda. And if you would, Mayor Johnson, if we would allow Attorney Ben Allen to come and to provide some additional information in regards to this agenda item that I have here on the agenda for
Yes,
today.
sir. Mr. Ben Allen, Attorney Ben Allen, thank you so much for being here, sir.
Yes, sir.
You have the floor.
Thank you. Mr. Mayor, commissioners, we're here, my client, Metropolitan Waste, has a contract with Coastal Waste. Coastal Waste provide waste management services for Augusta. There's been some confusion between my client and Coastal. We're in negotiations on a contract, and we had expressed some concerns to Coastal, and also we just wanted to put the city on notice that there seem to be some hiccups between Metropolitan Waste and Coastal, but we're negotiating, and we don't really need the commission at this time to take any formal action, except maybe if the commission wants to, we'll defer to you whether or not you need to take a look at the waste management services that's being provided to this community.
Thank you, Attorney Allen. Commissioner from the 6th, is there anything additional you need to add? Or Attorney Plunkett, is there anything we need to add? Do we need Coastal? Is this just probably?
Mr. Mayor, I understand that Coastal, I've heard from Coastal and from Mr. Allen, and they're in negotiations. So my opinion would be that it would be best not for the commission to weigh in at this point.
Okay.
Obviously, if something goes awry, then we may be asked to be involved. But right now, I think you've heard from Mr. Allen, kind of their position, and I think if we just let this run its course for right now would be the best way to move forward.
Thank you, Attorney Plunkett. Commissioner from the 6th, you have the, I'm
Thank you.
sorry.
Thank you,
Commissioner
Mayor.
from the 6th, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mayor Johnson. Thank you, Attorney Allen, General Counsel. I think this is a matter of us making sure that we get together on this sooner than later, because we don't want any deadlines to come about that will put this particular business in harm's way. So the sooner the better. If we can, perhaps let's move this next week at 11 o'clock next week. Let's look at all the documentations that we have pertaining to the contract. We know that this particular contract guaranteed about 25% for our locals, and we want to make sure that we stay on top of this. We don't want it to get pushed up under any further than it already is. Even having to have these discussions today about this particular entity, we thought that once this contract was done with Coastal, everything was good until this contract expired. But having to have these discussions now leads me to believe that there may be some ambiguities, and we definitely don't want that to happen with one of our locals when it comes down to them having part of this 25% contract that we was giving to our local businesses. Again, thank you, Mr. Allen, for being here, and we will engage these discussions further in the right time with this body and our general counsel. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Lewis. Again, Attorney Ben Allen, thank you so much for being here, sir. Yes. Madam Clerk, that takes us back to the addendum portion of our agenda. We have item number 2 and item number 3.
Item number 2, discussion regarding revised plans for the proposed State Veterans Cemetery in Augusta, updated plans, project status, and next steps associated with the proposed State Veterans Cemetery in Augusta. Are you taking them as companion or together?
We can companion, please. Thank
Okay.
you.
Item number 3 is a discussion regarding Augusta-Richmond County financial support for the State Veterans Cemetery, the Augusta-Richmond County's approval and allocation of monetary support toward the construction and development of the proposed Veterans Cemetery.
Thanks so much, Madam Clerk. Chair yields to Commissioner from the 5th, Commissioner Dunn Clark.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm super happy to talk about this discussion. This discussion has been in the making since 2001, when former Mayor Bob Young initially set out to try to bring a veteran cemetery to the area by way of locating it on Fort Gordon. It was, of course, stopped in its midst due to the 9/11 conflict that went on, and that shut down access to the bases worldwide. So it lay dormant until 2019, when one of the commissioners at that time, former Commissioner Bill Fenoy, asked for former Mayor Bob Young and myself to come together and reinvigorate this effort to try to get a veteran cemetery to the area. This has been a very long time coming, long time. It's been a lot of iterations, been a lot of discussion, been a lot of caring, been a lot of hands involved in trying to get us to the point we are today. Where we are today, the federal dollars that have been requested by the state have been approved by the federal government. A site has been located. And I brought some gentlemen here to really kind of put some definition and color and update to this situation to ensure that this body understands what has been approved 6-7 years ago by the previous commissions of Augusta's monetary support towards this cemetery. So I committed to my colleagues that I would bring some update to this. But more importantly, the commitment has been made clearly to this region that this is a needed effort to fulfill. The nearest 2 cemeteries that we have that are state veteran cemeteries or federal veteran cemeteries is Columbia, South Carolina, and Milledgeville, Georgia. With as large of a veteran population and military population that we have, it's a disservice that folks have to travel that far to bury their loved ones. This project is a remedy to that. And this project also will provide a much needed final resting place. And more importantly, it will provide our local Arlington right here in the Augusta-Richmond County area. It'll be the largest in the state. And thank God that we are finally at a point where we can put some real, true movement and dollars towards this effort. It's been a long time coming. I brought 2 of our technical advisors, one specifically from Georgia Department of Veteran Services, Mr. Rob Malden, who has been, not Rob Malden, I'm looking at Rob, but Russell Fagan. Russell has been a constant staple in Georgia Department of Veteran Services for, I don't even know how many years, Russ, but 45 years, 25. Oh, okay, I was about to say, Russ, we got to get you home, man. But yeah, 25 years, he's been a constant rock and a constant source of knowledge. Mr. Rob Malden represents 2KM Architect. They have planned and designed all of the existing veteran cemeteries in the state of Georgia. And fortunately for us, they're right here in Augusta, Richmond County as well. So I'm going to turn it over, Mr. Mayor, to these gentlemen. They're going to give the commission an update of where we started from a plan standpoint, and we've had to make some changes, and they're going to add some color and definition to that. So, gentlemen, if you could come up to the queue, your slide is already loaded. Again, Mr. Rob Malden and Mr. Russell Fagan.
Russell and Rob, thank you so much for being here. Just for the record, can you state your name and who you represent?
Yes, Robert Malden. My address is 529 Green Street, right across the street from y'all. And it's 2KM Architects as design professional.
Thank you, sir.
Russell Fagan, Georgia Department of Veteran Service. My office is 2249 Vincent Highway, Milledgeville, Georgia.
Thank you, sir. You guys have the floor.
So thank you, Mayor, Commissioners, Don, and others in the community that have supported this project for decades now. As Don outlined, we've gone through lots of steps and setbacks and tried to regenerate that energy. And this December, the VA issued an opportunity for a grant to develop and establish the Augusta Cemetery. And it's a state-operated veterans cemetery that the establishment is funded, the majority is funded by the VA, and then the state does supplement some of that, plus operating it going forward. So that's kind of the premise. I'll try to see if this will work. Yes. The slide you see is the master plan from 5 years ago. It's at the same general site, being out at Gracewood. This is just south of the main campus of Gracewood, so anybody that's visited that site can understand where this is. The original orientation was an entrance off of Tobacco Road and entering past the existing buildings onto the southern part of the campus. The initial phase was designed for immediately inside that area. The city of Augusta had committed to developing the road and demolishing the existing structures, which were scattered there was over a dozen structures that had been dilapidated and abandoned, for those that understand the current status of the site. With that, we had developed all of this to be told by the VA, your priority is basically zero for getting funding. With that, there was a lot of lobbying and efforts by the community, by veterans, by our state legislators, both in the state of Georgia as well as at the national level, to get the funding that would allow us to have this grant. So again, it's a grant funding opportunity. That means we have to meet a very strict deadline to have this developed, designed, and bid by basically July. So we've compressed a year's worth of development into roughly 7 months. This depicts the previous site in pink at the top, and it has the new site that's been identified by Department of Behavioral Health as available for the cemetery. That's in that lighter gold or yellow shading. This is the phase 1 master plan. The main entrance will be off of Bird Road. As I said before, the entrance was Tobacco Road, past the existing facilities. This is actually coming off of Bird Road and immediately past the railroad tracks. So we're the south side of the railroad tracks, but it's an opportunity to redevelop this site. The phase 1 includes the main entrance, the administration building, burial sections, ceremonial section, the columbaria, at least the initial establishment of that, a committal shelter, and the maintenance building. One of the challenges is that one of the parcels has to be acquired and coordinated, and the city's been working with everybody to try to facilitate that effort. We appreciate everybody's efforts in that regard. We have to basically do that now. So that's not something that can wait. That provides a clean entrance and the ability to coordinate and develop that into the proper development. And you saw that image in the beginning. So this shows the orientation. We're about a quarter mile off of Peach Orchard Road on Bird Road to access the site. On Peach Orchard, we're coordinating with private entities and the city to try to acquire an easement for a sign that would be a monumental sign on Peach Orchard Road so that you know where to turn and not just a little plaque cemetery here. So that's something that we're working with everyone on now. So this shows you the current images, and you have to have a lot of imagination because you're basically looking across a railroad track into some trees, and this will become the entrance that you saw earlier in the image. So that is our typical image. This will be very close to the image that will be developed at that intersection of Bird Road. So some of the commitments that the city had made, obviously Bird Road is just a regular rural residential road. So we've identified and advised that over the next couple of years that be a targeted effort to improve that road, make improvements so that aesthetically it will handle traffic, but it won't handle the aesthetic side of what you want to project for the cemetery and this incredible opportunity. One of the other things that this brings is jobs. The initial, and Russell can correct me if I'm wrong, I believe we're targeting at least 8 employees full-time to establish initially, with the following couple of years adding another 2, and depending on the workload, and sadly that's a fact, is the workload of burying veterans and taking care of the cemetery will follow based on that. So this is an aerial shot looking where the road will go that will turn into our entrance. Again, we're coordinating with the power company. Don's been working with everybody on utilities to try to coordinate getting the utilities rerouted. We're looking at putting them underground, getting them routed around so that when you come to this site, you're not seeing a bunch of derelict stuff and power poles, things like that. So there's a lot of opportunity there. All right. One of the other things the city had committed to, which the VA does not provide any funding for, is demolition of existing structures. The department's been working with the governor's office and the behavioral health department to identify that those buildings can be demolished. It requires the governor's signature and approval. But there's basically 6 buildings there. There's a picnic shelter, a little toilet building that's over next to the pond. There's 2 former housing units that have collapsed. The roof and one of them's totally collapsed and the other one's not far behind, plus 2 maintenance buildings, a Quonset hut and a metal building. So those are all identified, abandoned currently, and identified to be demolished. So this is an aerial shot of the Quonset hut on the right, and it used to be some sort of farming support building, and the maintenance building on the left. It's actually the one that's in the best shape. That's the elevations of them. They've been isolated for protection. These are images of the existing living quarters. They used to have folks with mental disabilities housed there. And over the decades, that type of care had been removed. I think they're trying to bring that back in different areas, in different ways. But currently, those have been abandoned for a long time. As you can see, the roof's collapsed on that one. Trees growing up through the entrances. It's terrible. So with that, I'll go back here to the opportunities. Mr. Fagan is here representing the Georgia Department of Veterans Service as their contracts, and you got several new titles, but at any rate, I'll let him speak to other aspects of the project.
All right, sir, you have the floor.
Thank you. Just adding to what Rob said, a couple of explanations. The VA does not pay for land. The state has to have, we have to have the land provide that. And fortunately, behavioral health did have property that they were going to provide to us. The issue that came into play on that was when we came through the original entrance, it was all state property, and it was a transfer between the two. When we had to move because behavioral health is planned to use that original area for something else, it then required us to come off of Bird Road. To be able to access that easily required purchasing of a piece of property, which Don and people are working on getting that done to be able to do that so that we have a nice entrance into the facility. The timeline on some of these has been mentioned is very critical, very tight. Normally we would have started this planning this time for next year, but when the VA came in, again, I have to emphasize and thank all of the people that were involved in it of getting the funding. As we discussed in the past, it was no, there's not enough veterans unserved based upon the VA criteria. They draw a big circle, and if those circles touch the county, they figured the county is supported by a cemetery. That's real well and good, except that's not really practical, as Don has pointed out. So finally, with the efforts that were done, the funding did become available in November, December time frame. And so that put us in a time crunch of being able to do what we're doing. Again, thank you all so much for those efforts. As a department, we recognize the importance and the need for a cemetery in the area. It was a matter of how the funding was going to take place on that. So your efforts are outstanding on being able to accomplish that. But it does put us in a timeline because we not only have to have funding, when we come to go in with a contract, the funding has to be there to support the contract. And because of the timeline for property approval, that has to be done basically this week by the 8th of May to be able to say that we do, in fact, to get it before the property board, who approves the state property commission, who in turn approves transfer of property from private entity to the state. So that's working on, y'all are working on that. We certainly do appreciate the efforts on doing that. It does make that a tight timeline on doing that. So upon completion of the cemetery, when the cemetery is finished, then at that point, operation of the cemetery is up, it will be the state, and the department will pay for operation of the cemetery to include the employees, as Rob mentioned just a minute ago, the number of employees there, and we'll pay for the operation. So it's these early stages in which there's additional fundings. As Rob said, the VA does not pay for demolition of buildings, things of that nature. They cover a lot of things within the cemetery, but they don't cover demolition, they don't cover land, road networks outside. Any of that ends up being responsibility of the state and state entities to be able to do that, or y'all have stepped forward in helping do that to pay for those parts at the state. Part of the issue that came about with this is that when they brought it to our attention in November, that it was going to be a potential grant potential, we were already into the budget cycle. Y'all all know that we have to put our submission for budgets in September for the governor and staff to be able to, and so we did not anticipate this requirement, so there wasn't the action in there. We did get in, the legislators and the governor did put funding, an amount of funding in that process, but it does impact on the amount that was asked that we were able to get put into this year's budget impacts on that. So again, the efforts that y'all have indicated and the support y'all have done allow us to be able to do something this year. And unfortunately, unlike any state, any federal grant, it's available this year. It doesn't roll over into a future year if we're not able to use it this year. So that's where we are on the process. Again, much needed cemetery. The support that y'all are providing is outstanding. We can't thank you enough for the efforts that have been done to be able to do that. The veterans in this area will definitely benefit from it, and we're so grateful that y'all have stepped up and are providing that assistance on us being able to meet these requirements.
Keep this.
Yep.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Clark, before I open up to the floor, you want to add anything additional?
Yeah, I want to add a couple things. I know you all are hearing all the enthusiasm and excitement from Rob and Russ because they've been doing this day in and day out. But it's a great deal for us. This is a big deal for us. For our community that has such a large presence of military, and Russ, clarify for me again, we've talked about this over the years. Are you all kind of estimating this to be probably the busiest or one of the business in the state?
We do. We estimate that for the the other two cemeteries, it absolutely will be I anticipate it being the busiest for its location, the number of veterans that are close at hand. We do get, some of the veterans do come all the way to the families bring them all the way to Milledgeville. Some of them actually go down to Glenville. So families are willing to transport that far, travel that far for a veteran cemetery. But with it being here locally, we anticipate that to be significantly higher. There's roughly 65,000 veterans. Again, a comment a minute ago, the VA says they're all served by somebody else. Well, if you're 5-10 miles away from a cemetery, you're much more likely to use that than you are if you having to travel 90 miles or more. So we do anticipate that being significantly used at that point.
And I want to clarify this, and then I'll pause because I know we have colleagues that have questions. Even though the location of this, and I want to make sure that folks understand how this had to happen. We had the challenge of finding state property. The property that we have identified is owned by two state directorates, correct?
Right.
Georgia Forestry and Department of Behavioral Health. Currently on that site, not where the cemetery is, and I'm saying this for a specific reason so that I can clarify to everyone. Many of us know Gracewood Hospital is located on the front portion of that property. The cemetery in no way will impact that. The cemetery in no way will interfere with that. The cemetery in no way will cause or add to any closures or otherwise. They are two separate entities, separated by the rail line, operating essential purposes for our community. So I wanted to make sure and clarify that piece because those are points of contention that we've heard previously, that one was going to close the other or the impacted. I also want to clarify this. We're talking about breaking ground by the end of the year as long as we stay on track, correct? So by the end of the year, we'll break ground, and a year later, looking to open and start receiving interments?
Roughly a year.
It'll probably take about 18 months.
About 18 months, so about a year and a half.
Construction would be complete in a year following that.
All right, so with that piece being said, I want to go ahead and put this public announcement out. Please don't start reaching out saying, hey, I want to make a reservation. Your reservation is there when you're ready, but you don't have to reach out ahead of time. And I say that because every time we talk about the cemetery, people are calling saying, hey, put my name in on my reservation. This is an entitled benefit for those that have served honorably and their family members that are qualified to be buried here. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Commissioner from the 5th. Chair recognizes Commissioner from the 2nd. Commissioner Stacy Pulliam, ma'am, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mayor Johnson. To everyone that has worked so hard on this, including you, Commissioner Clark, but all of those that have come before you that have worked hard on this, it is very much appreciated. And I'm sure our community is just, Well, I know they are because they talk about it all the time. So thank you so much for your efforts and those efforts of everyone else. A few questions. Does the VA handle all of the procurements for the building of the cemetery? And so I don't know who can answer that question.
It will be done through a public solicitation of contract.
Okay.
Anybody that desires can submit and that will be, actually, just give you a timeline, that will be done this July. In July, there'll be an announcement on the state procurement site that allows any contractor that desires to be doing the contracting. And then they purchase the everything that's done through their contracts, through their sources.
Okay, but that's nothing that the city or our local municipality is involved in. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. All right. That's what I wanted to know.
One caveat to that, what we're proposing presently is to package the demolition of those buildings as a separate ad alternate, so that the price could be identified to the city. And at that point, you would have the choice to go ahead and agree that that's a good approach to let the contractor who's doing the other development and demolish those buildings and get that taken care of. If you chose something else, you have to go through a bunch of exchanges of property and easements between the state and the city to be able to contract. So that's our recommendation for the state, to approach it that way, and then that gives the city a hard number. It's been publicly bid, it's been bid through the state, and represents the best opportunity for being able to make that decision. And again, that would be in the September timeframe.
Okay, and that's dealing with not only the buildings, but the easement portion we were talking about as well, is that correct?
The easement is separate.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Easement right now, as I understand it, is not being acquired for the cemetery. It's for a sign to be constructed there.
Okay. This question, Mayor Johnson, may I ask Commissioner Clark a question, since this was his item?
Yes, ma'am, you may.
Okay. Commissioner Clark.
Yes, ma'am.
So what exactly is the ask today from this body?
Well, I think the biggest thing, I had made the commitment based on our last week's conversation that I would bring an updated refresh presentation to the body. This has been approved through probably about 3 or 4 different iterations of approvals by different commissions, some that aren't here even today. And I wanted to make sure that this body, since now it seems like this project is finally able to start moving forward, that everyone is refreshed on some of the change of scope, some of the change in aspects of this project, because it's been some changes that were different from what was presented previously. Okay. So I committed to making sure that all of us had the updated information.
Okay. One more question, and either you can answer this, Commissioner Clark, or the gentlemen that are presenting to us. Is this body being asked to absorb any of the costs that the state has not been able to allocate to us for this project?
And that's why I put these two motions or these two items together. One was there has been 6 years ago, I think it was 6. 6 years ago, the commission at that time and the mayor at that time approved to provide monetary support through the roads and through demolition. So that's why we're talking about that aspect of it. Again, we're talking about some changes in scope, and we're going to have to obtain some clarity on how those will be addressed and introduced into this as well.
Okay, so we'll do that prior to making this decision.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah,
so are we doing that
but as far as
as
the monetary support that's been committed from the city, that's been committed 6 years ago and has been reaffirmed through commitment probably at least 3 times. That former Mayor Young and I came forward. The mayor also sent a letter of support to the state as well, reaffirming what had been previously committed to by the bodies.
Okay, but the additional amount, that additional amount will be clear to this body before we decide
Yeah, everything
on
will be
it.
clear through here. Now, I'm going to tell you, really, because it's been such a significant change in scope, that first phase that they had previously showed, I mean, it was definitely going to far exceed what was previously estimated 7 years ago. Those estimates 7 years ago, I'm sure, probably would have been double or tripled based upon what costs are now. But we're now in a more minimized scope with the amount of buildings that are in play for demolition and even the road component of it, and the other piece with the property as well. Okay. So it's still much less than what it was, but there is some change in scope, and that's why I wanted to make sure that we were open and transparent about presenting those changes.
Okay, Mayor Johnson, may I address Administrator Allen?
Yes, ma'am, you may.
Okay, Administrator Allen, with the additional amount, because we don't know what that is, where would that money come from?
That point is very valid, Commissioner Pullen. We don't know the amount, so I couldn't say where it would actually come from. Okay. Because we don't know the amount at this time.
Okay. All right. So my question then is, and I honestly don't know who can answer this question, but my question is, how can we move forward on this portion until we know the amount and we know the additional amount and we know that where we're going to get that amount from? I don't.
Mr. Clark, you want to clarify, or I can?
Okay.
Go ahead, Mr. Mayor.
Okay.
I know previous commissions and previous mayors had committed to seeing this come to fruition. I think at one point the city had committed upwards to $2 million for construction and road demolition. So, I think it will be incumbent upon this body to kind of follow the wishes of a previous commission or mayor. But these are conversations that have been going on for years now. Absolutely. So I think it's finally to the point to where it's time to, at some point, come up with the money, and it will be incumbent upon us to kind of follow the wishes of the previous governing bodies.
Okay. And I understand that, and I support the efforts. So 100%, I really do. I just want us to be clear on where the money's coming from and the additional amount of money. Because as the administrator just stated, she doesn't know where it would come from. So just making sure we have that money in our coffers, that way we're able, in our coffers rather, that way we're able to deliver on the deadline, the timelines when they're given to us. I just want a clear picture.
Yeah, and let me clarify this too. So
Okay.
What's being asked for right now, there's different aspects of this that we have committed towards, but all isn't, all funding to support those efforts isn't due all at once. So there'll be a staggered phase approach. There's aspects of it where we are going to have to move forward, and that's what the gents are talking about with the property leading up to the entrance and all that kind of stuff. The fact that this has gone the way it has, $2.3 million at the time was the estimated cost that was provided to the commission that made the initial vote. And that was for the estimated cost for demolition and estimated cost for roadways. I think we're looking to be well under that with what we're doing now. But again, I don't want to put them on the spot because we're still getting estimates. Mm-hmm. So before they north and south and say, yeah, it's going to be, and before I even say that, we're getting the estimates of what the costs are now. All right. But we're staying in line with what has been previously committed. But I needed to make sure that you all had a refreshed understanding of what's now in scope. Okay. Scope has minimized about 50 to 60 acres from what the original was, and we're dealing with where it is now. And there are some challenges with it as well.
So to that point, the initial area is 50 acres that's being transferred in round numbers between the departments and the entrance. The future expansion is actually over another 100 acres that's right now controlled by the Forestry Commission. And they have issued a letter that in the future, if you need it, you've said you wanted it, so in the future, the departments would agree to transfer property that's needed for expansion. So that's off to the bottom of your sheet of the image. So if you look at that, the wooded area is right now a pine forest. In the future, and it's probably 50 years away, in the future, that would be the targeted area to expand the cemetery. So.
Just for record, and pardon me, Commissioner from the second, what is the acreage of the facilities in Columbia, Milledgeville, and Glenville? Yes.
Milledgeville is 142 acres. Glenville is 40 acres, and I'm not sure what the acreage is for.
All right, so this will be pretty significant.
Be pretty significant. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. My apologies, Commissioner from the second. You have the floor, ma'am.
That's okay, sir. I'm going to relinquish, or I'm fine for right now. I'm good. Thank you so much.
Good.
I'm finished with my question.
Commissioner Clark, before I move to Commissioner from the fourth.
No, go ahead and go to Commissioner Wembley. We're good.
All right, Commissioner Wembley from the fourth, you have the floor, sir.
Well, I think part of it already been, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Part has already been cleared up, and that is, it looked like mud. Now, on the part of the money that we committed by previous bodies, I was under the impression that funds had already been set aside, or we just set a number aside. Which is it? Funds or a number?
Yeah, a number.
Just a number. And that number is now more than how many years?
Yeah, that number is about 7 years stale.
7 years old.
Yeah.
Okay. Which means that number may not fit in today's market.
It may not, but also the scope has changed of what was all included in making that number what it was.
Okay.
So it's been minimized more.
Okay. So this will be money coming now. Before anybody jump up and start shouting about veterans, I am one. I gave 30 years of my life to the military, and every 3 years, I made an oath that I would die for this country. So I'm now talking for veterans, and I'm also talking for my constituents. Okay. I remember when this first started, and I think I can remember a number of 1,200 acres was needed. It was kicked around, okay? How big the cemetery had to be. Now, whether that was official or not, I don't know. But I know it was talked about how big a cemetery needed to be. I thought, that's pretty doggone big. Yeah, that's almost big as South Augusta. So I didn't take much stock in that. So now, demolition, you need money for demolition, am I correct?
That's correct.
That's right.
Is that supposed to be coming out of that?
The VA will not spend any money on demolition.
So of that money we talked about, that number we cast a few years back, that demolition is supposed to come out of that?
Right. The original area had many more buildings in it. There were like 12 buildings that had to be demolished in the original concept. So that's what's being said. That as far as why the scope has changed. Now we're talking 4 buildings is what we're talking about have to be demolished as opposed to 12.
Okay.
And then
there's 2 small structures, the picnic shelter and the toilet building, that have to be demolished no matter what. The 4 buildings in the back could remain. It's just they're a hazard right now. So the sooner
why would you shouldn't
we
remain
get
there.
them gone, the less it'll cost and the better it is for everybody.
And they'd be potentially visible as we develop the existing.
We don't want that.
Right. So that's where we're talking about some of the cost will come down out of that original concept in that respect.
Now, gaining interest to the cemetery, and we gave, I think, like $12 million to help with Gate 6. So gaining interest to the cemetery should not be a problem for us to support, okay? I'm not concerned about that, but I am concerned about that phantom number that we got sitting out there, and we don't have no idea in this body where it's going to come from. We have no idea. So this 10 people that we're going to start out with 8, and you're going to wind up with 2 more to approximately 10 to manage this cemetery. So they're there just to overwatch contractors?
No, they will be doing, they'll handle everything in the cemetery. They'll do the burials, they'll do the opening, closing graves, setting headstones. The state does not contract those. Those individuals will be responsible for all the operations within the cemetery. And that may expand as you do. Again, that's based on our current burial rate in the other cemeteries. As we determined, as we discussed, if we find out that we're doing twice as many burials in this cemetery, which we probably anticipate, then that number will go up more than that. It'll increase higher than that as the number of burials increase. Initially, it takes that many to open the cemetery, and then we look at each year, we look to see what are we doing, and then we'd be expanding that at a state level for additional employees.
So, Mr. Fagan, just for history, is the cemetery director for Milledgeville. So he was at the cemetery in Milledgeville from its inception. He was the first employee for that facility and became the director, and since became contracts and health administration overall for all the facilities. But so he's very familiar with what it takes, what the day-to-day operations are, the respect that's given to the veterans by the staff, and making sure that everybody is following the rules, as we talked earlier today, following the rules of how that memorial cemetery is to be operated and conducted, and with that honor. And it becomes a landmark facility, a historical landmark, by its sheer existence and establishment. And it has to be conducted, and it's inspected by the VA on a regular basis. And everything has to be precise. Everything has to be done according to the book, so to speak, and to project that consistent, honorable burial and honorable memorial location for our veterans.
Well, you just actually answered my next line of question was the standard operating procedure for it, and so VA would take care of that.
Yeah.
Okay. So what's
the state?
State.
But
okay.
we have to meet kind of what you're aiming. We have to meet the VA standards.
That's what he just said.
Our same audit is done. Their national cemeteries have, our state cemeteries has that same inspection.
Okay. So we're getting to my final question here. You're trying to have this cemetery open by the end of the year?
No, sir. No, sir. We will start construction, start breaking ground the end of this year. And then as Rob said, I said a year, I was optimistic. Rob is indicating probably 18 months from that. So you're looking at
Targeting the spring of the following year.
Right.
Okay. All right. So that includes the ground prep for burial?
Yes, sir.
Right. Okay. All right.
Yeah, nobody can be buried there without it being accepted by the VA and certified by the department and by ourselves that it meets the criteria, it meets the standards. And once that happens, then the first burial can take place.
And my last point would be for the mayor and the clerk. I want to see where those dollars has been approved, because I'm concerned about, as I stated, I'm a veteran. There's 4 more civilians living in Augusta than veterans. So now you're taking money, because it will be collected as taxes, to pay for this. So did the citizen also buy in to that phantom money that we're talking about? Okay. Don't answer now, Mr. Mayor. We'll talk about it.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Wimberly. Gentlemen, thank you all so much for being here. I don't have any colleagues in the queue. Rob and Russell, thank you so much. Appreciate you traveling to Augusta. Chair recognizes Commissioner Don Clark.
Yeah, gentlemen, thank you again for everything that you've provided up to this point, and we got more work to do. So again, thank you for everything you've brought. Thank you to our state legislators, our federal legislators as well, and of course, our local delegation who stepped up to invest in the veterans of our community to have a final resting place that is honorable and greatly appreciated through the benefits that they've earned. So thank you both for representing that, and more to come. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much for your time. Appreciate you.
All right. Madam Clerk,
Yes, sir.
before I consult you, Attorney Plunkett, does that conclude? Do we have any reason to conduct a legal session today?
If the body is willing, we have a fairly short agenda, but if we could have a legal session to discuss pending threatened litigation, real estate, and personnel matters.
All right, Madam Clerk, I think that concludes our business on the regular and the addendum agenda.
If you could, sir, could we just receive it as information, have a record without objection?
Yes, ma'am. Can we receive this item, companion item
two and three.
on today's addendum agenda received as information without objection? Is there any objection?
So move.
Okay. We just.
Any objection?
Action.
Madam Clerk, hearing or seeing no objection is received as information.
Thank you.
Attorney Plunkett.
We would request a motion to go into executive session, discuss pending threatened litigation, personnel, and litigation, real estate matters, sir.
There's a motion by Commissioner Don Clark. Is there a second? There's a second by Commissioner Lonnie Wimberly. Madam Clerk, seeing no colleagues in the queue, we're prepared to vote.
Mr. Garrett?
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Lewis? He stepped out, okay. That motion carries with Mr. Lewis out, Mr. Garrett voting yes.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. We're now suspended to executive session.
No, you didn't.
All right, let's close this out. As soon as we get the attorney, we'll be ready to close it out. One, two, three. We got plenty up here. Where did he go outside for? He got an emergency call? Where's John Madden?
He was behind the door.
Here he comes. All right. We need to get Attorney Madden. Are you good for 2 seconds?
To make it clean.
I'll just make a motion. We won't draft it. Can't have it drafted today, but we'll get it.
Let's go. All right, Madam Clerk, I'll call this session back to order. Attorney Plunkett.
We'd request a motion to have the mayor execute a closed meeting affidavit.
So moved.
All right, it's a motion by Commissioner from the 5th, Don Clark, seconded by Commissioner from the 3rd, Catherine Smith Rice. Madam Clerk, seeing no colleagues in the queue, we're voting.
Didn't do it, Mayor Pro Tem. It didn't.
Oh, shoot. Yes, ma'am. I'll vote yes.
Okay. I got you. All right. Go ahead. Gary, he's out. He's not here. That motion carries with Mr. Garrett out.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Attorney Plunkett, are there any motions as a result of our executive session?
There's one. I apologize for it probably being wordy and not the most coherent. But we'd request a motion to authorize the law department to negotiate an acquisition of parcels on Bird Road in support of the Veteran Cemetery, with such acquisition being contingent upon the State Properties Commission approving the Veteran Cemetery in June.
Second.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. That was a motion by Commissioner Catherine Smith Rice, and I heard a second to my right from Commissioner Lonnie Wembley. Yep. Commissioner Lonnie Wembley from the force is second. No colleagues in the queue for discussion. Madam Clerk, we're voting.
Did you say Happy Mother's Day to everybody?
Happy Mother's Day today? That's Sunday.
That's this weekend, right?
Cinco de Mayo today.
Mr. Johnson.
Sunday.
You ain't got a 5-hour energy.
Mr. Johnson. You hear me? You hear me?
Not in that vehicle. I drove that a little bit.
It's unanimous with Mr. Garrett out.
Thank you so much, Madam Clerk. Does that conclude our business for today?
It does.
It does? All right. If there is no other business, this session is hereby adjourned. Thank you.